The Home Secretary recently responded to questions around settlement in the UK, the extension of time for ILR for those already in the UK, whether they're going to apply it retrospectively or not, those are going to be exempted, plans around change in life in the UK test, and every other thing you need to know. So stay tuned, let's go straight into the details. My name is Tochi, you're welcome to my channel. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up as you're watching, so YouTube can recommend it to more people that needs to see it. To all my returning subscribers, you guys are amazing. You're welcome back to today's video. If you're yet to subscribe, I honestly don't know why you haven't yet. Please click the subscribe button right now. Thank you. So guys, a few weeks ago we all saw the report by the House of Lords where they rejected some of the policies and proposals that the UK government has and made some recommendations as well regarding the immigration policies, extension of time for ILR, and so many more. Of course, when reports like this are published, the government is expected to respond. So on the 7th of July, the Home Secretary has now responded to so many of those questions that the committee were asking, and I watched that section live. It was over an hour long and I watched everything. I'm just here to summarize what went down on the 7th of July, some of the questions that the committee members asked the Home Secretary and her response to those questions. Okay, before I continue, I always share amazing opportunities and offers from LemFi. For those who don't know what LemFi is a reliable app that enables you to send money to Nigeria or to African countries at zero fees. Okay, and they have one of the best rates you can find in the market. It's a very amazing app. I've been using LemFi for years now, and I can tell you that it's just easy to use, it's safe, it's secured, and you're very sure the recipient will receive the money instantly. Okay, I'm here for another good news. Okay, if you send £1,000 or more in a single transfer to Nigeria from the 1st of July, okay, for the next 3 months, you stand a chance of winning amazing prizes. You can win a share of £6,000 in flight vouchers, because trust me guys, summer is almost here and I'm sure a lot of people are already booking their holidays and preparing for their vacations and everything. Or one of 200,000 naira cash prize. Okay, so trust me, you want to have an amazing summer holiday, and LemFi can make that happen for you. So remember, the more you send, the more your chances of winning, and winners will be selected randomly. Okay, I wish everyone who will be participating all the best. I'm going to leave the details on the screen as well. And if you're yet to download LemFi, please use my code TOCHI when you're signing up and you will get a cashback automatically. So guys, back to the video. So one of the committee members asked a very important question, right? He said that the government have claimed that applying these rules retrospectively would save the government about £10 billion, okay, in public finances, because a lot of migrants, by the time they are eligible for settlements, they will now claim public funds and all of that. So that without the changes, there's going to be like a £10 billion drain to the public finances, right? So he was also trying to raise the fact that even though most immigrants do not have access to public funds, and that this drain will be as a result of the use of public services, right? Which ironically, migrants provide the services by working in different sectors. So the Home Secretary now responded that yes, she understands that ILR is a long-term benefit. So once you get your indefinite leave to remain, you can now live in the UK for as long as you want. Okay, so there's no limit to how long you can stay in the UK. Is a lifetime opportunity, is a lifetime benefit. So people should be happy, or it's reasonable for people to pay the cost for a lifetime benefit, right? So she's just trying to explain that no matter the cost, no matter how long you have to stay, no matter the price you have to pay, she thinks it's reasonable because it's for life, it's a lifetime benefit, and you don't even necessarily have to apply for British citizenship if you don't want to, right? So long as you have your indefinite leave to remain, it allows you to live in the UK permanently. It's a permanent life benefit, right? Again, she also said that the number of people that arrived in the UK recently is one that the UK didn't really prepare for, and it's something that they've never experienced before, so the number is quite overwhelming for the government. They didn't prepare for the number of dependents that came to the UK. They didn't prepare for the number of low-skilled workers that came to the UK as well, and that some of the changes they made to accommodate a lot of low-skilled workers is something that the UK has never done before, so that the change is very, very important, and that if nothing is done about it, the consequences is going to be felt for years. So the government is actually justified for doing anything that they want to do, or for all the proposals and the plans that they have in place. It's for the good of the country, okay? So basically, she was emphasizing on the numbers, that the UK had an overwhelming number of migrants entering the UK in the last 4 years. In fact, she said in her word that 1 in 30 people arrived in the UK in the past 4 years, right? So the number is one that the UK has never experienced before. And not only that, they didn't really prepare for it. They didn't understand the impact, the consequences of everything that is going to happen from the numbers of the people and the dependents that entered the UK as well. And she also mentioned something. She said that even though they are planning to change the time for ILR for those already in the UK and all of that, that the government still respects ILR, okay? The government still understands the importance of ILR for those that are working hard, that want to make a home here in the UK, that wants to make the UK their home, settle here, integration and everything, that they still respect it. And that's why they're allowing people to have ILR, unlike some other parties that want to rip people off of their indefinite leave to remain. Of course, we know the party already that's been so vocal and loud about taking off ILR completely, So she also mentioned that as well, So at the end of the day, you see that most times they just use some of these things to play politics. So the next question that was also asked by the same gentleman was that, migrants actually make money for the economy and not to drain the economy, because a lot of illegal migrants are economic migrants, right? So why would, and the Home Office says they respect ILR, they respect migrants, but that sometimes the way they say things, because a lot of migrants are scared. They might even mention that some of his neighbors and friends are, even mention that some of his neighbors and colleagues and people around are actually scared because nobody knows what the outcome would be. Of course, everybody is panicking. Everybody just wants to know, let autumn come, give us decision. Let's know exactly what you guys have decided, because we all want to know, because they've been talking about this thing for a very long time, and they've been very loud and unapologetic about their plans, and they can defend it anywhere. And this is exactly what she was doing here, trying to defend some of the proposals and plans that they have, giving reasons why it should stand and why they want to make it happen. So this man also asked, okay, if migrants are actually contributing, they're not draining, they're contributing positively, they're economic migrants, what do you have to say? Are you saying that, okay, you do not encourage economic migrants, or what exactly are you saying? And he even mentioned that compared to a lot of young British population, that migrants contribute more economically, And she said, yes, that she actually encourages or applauds economic migrants, that her parents were economic migrants, and that they raised 4 British amazing children in the UK. So she encourages it. She doesn't have anything against it. However, that it has to be managed. Okay, you can't just leave it uncontrolled. So that is what they are trying to do, to manage it and just make sure that everything is in check, to control the borders and all of that, right? And I want to hear you guys, if you watched this, please let me know, what did you think? What did you observe from this? For me, what I observed was that she sounded so confident, like she had an answer to every question they were throwing at her. No question took her off balance. This was my observation. So if you watched the video or the section, please let me know what you observed in the comment section. And then she also said that a government has the right to control their borders. So it's legal for them to do any rules or change any laws, whether it's going to affect those already in the country or not. And they are very much within their legal rights to do so, okay? And that they are consulting on on transitional arrangements. Now, another question was asked regarding exemption, right? They specifically mentioned that in December, the government made exemptions for prison workers. I'm sure we all followed that news, where the government had to exempt prison workers because of the potential crisis in prison service, that a lot of prison workers were going to be affected following the new rules, the salary threshold and everything. So the government had to make exception for the people, for workers in that service, in that sector. Now, and he also mentioned that NHS workers are also complaining that whatever happens, is going to affect over 12,000 workers with the NHS. So will the government make exceptions for some people? Will there be exceptions to this rule for anyone? I said that yes, of course, that there are going to be exceptions, because when things like this happen, of course, there has to be exceptions. And that was what she said. But we have to wait till autumn, I guess, to see what is going to be, right? And also, somebody also asked that, isn't it unfair that a lot of people who came into the UK with the hope of getting ILR after 5 years, is it not unfair and against the rule of law to now shift the goalposts while people are already in the UK? Because it's supposed to be when you come here, you behave yourself, you do your job, after 5 years you get ILR. Why are you changing it now? Isn't that unfair and against the rule of law? And guess what she said? Of course, she said that there's going to be transitional arrangements to look at children, spouses, income, and all of that. I think I need us to watch her response, okay?
Legitimate expectations has been tested in court, and I know we are in whatever changes we make here, we will be safe on legitimate expectations, because being on a route, it is not the same as being on a promise to settlement. If it was the case that no government ever could change its rules on anyone who's currently in country, I mean, that would be a really, as I say, a coach and horses through any government's ability to run its border effectively and to respond to changing patterns of behaviour, changing public policy concerns and all the rest of it. And I just would say it would make us an outlier compared to other countries. I mean, I just did not too long ago a scan of changes in rules in other countries to which British citizens often go to work. And I mean, in almost all of the major jurisdictions where Brits go to work, the rules change and they apply to you immediately, regardless of when you came into the country. And so that is such an important principle. I just gently urge colleagues not to think about this as a sort of unusual, unheard of retrospection. What you're highlighting and what strongly and passionately, and what is very striking about this cohort of people is the size. Right? We've never dealt with numbers of this order ever before. We've certainly never had this number of dependents either ever before, and we haven't had this level of lower skilled workers ever before either. So that is why it is big, in the sense that those numbers are big and historically never happened before, and therefore it's a complicated policy environment because of the nature of the size here. But on the legality of, can you change the rules on people whilst they're in country? Yes, you can. If you couldn't, I mean, you could say goodbye to governments being able to run their borders properly. That would be so unheard of.
So guys, I'm sure we all heard everything that she said and how she answered the question regarding how legal it is and how governments can actually change the rules for those who are already in the country, because if they're not able to, then how are they governments? How are they expected to control their borders and rule effectively, And then some other people talked about them actually supporting the plan and proposal that the government has, because obviously when things like this happen, we know that you're going to have people for it and people against it. So people for it actually spoke and gave reasons why they actually support it. One of the reasons being that they need to bring back trust, because they've lost trust in immigration process, immigration system, and all of that, And so the Home Secretary then said that the policy should be expected to be published later in autumn this year. So also asked if they have the correct figures or the correct numbers of people coming in and going out of the country. And so she said not necessary, not exactly, because they don't have a biometric exit system, like a system that tracks those that are leaving the UK. Because they also asked us, so how do you now have the number of people that are here, the number of people that are going to access public funds, the number of people that are going to drain the economy? How do you have that number? How did you come up with the number if you don't have the exact number of people in the UK, those that are coming in, those that are leaving, and all of that? And she said that they really don't have it, the actual figures, but that they're working on it. Her predecessor did the same thing, and she's doing the same thing as well, and they plan for it to be ready and available by autumn of this year as well. Finally, they called for major reforms to the Life in the UK test, okay, saying that some of the questions are a bit irrelevant and that about 2 answers to the questions are wrong, okay? So she said that the current contract is going to end by autumn of next year. So by then, some changes should be expected. There was nothing that was changed. She was just responding to the questions that were asked, right? And why they are trying to justify their actions or their plans or their proposals, why they want to do it, and why people should accept it, why it should stand. Okay, so yeah, that is it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.